What is going on, everybody? I'm Rob Westerman of GBP Daily, and I'm hopping on to do some Packers chat with you guys. I've been looking forward to it all day. One of my favorite things to do during the week. Doing a little AMA. For those of you who don't know, that stands for Ask Me Anything. I didn't know what that meant until a few months ago, until I had to look it up. So excuse me for that. Give me about 15 seconds here. I gotta fix something for the folks over on YouTube. Let's see here. Jared, I see your chat. What's going on, buddy? All right. About 5 more seconds. 1 sec. All right. We're in. Jared, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining me. Questions already rolling in here. There we go. Okay, Packers Dynasty asks, you think D-Bach plays tomorrow? I know you can't guarantee anything, but what's your guess? Question a lot of people have been asking the past few weeks. For the first time in a long time, I'm pretty confident we'll see David out there. It's been a long haul with him since he tore his ACL last year. Had the cleanup surgery a month and a half ago, and now after a good week's worth of practice, he had an official injury designation, which was the first time he's had one all year. Listed as questionable on the final injury report. On the flight to Detroit, he's wearing a Protect the Blind Side T-shirt. So does that mean anything? Probably not. Maybe. Who knows? But I think we'll see David out there tomorrow, probably for the first half, first quarter. But I think he plays for the first time since last year. So good question. Rock Watts asks, "What about Randall Cobb? Will he be cut after this season? Return or retire?" One of my favorites. Rock, I'm all there with you as far as one of your favorites. Everything about Cobb, I've just absolutely loved ever since he first came. Ever since his first game as a Packer back in 2011 against the Saints, that kickoff return for a touchdown, it was just awesome. So, hypothetically, let's say he has a good performance during the playoffs this year. Rodgers returns next year. I'm sure he'll vouch for Cobb's return, and if Amar Rodgers doesn't show any growth, I could see him coming back. At this very second, though, if I had to bet on whether he'd be back or not, I'd have to say probably not. We kind of, we got a deep receiver room, and unless Rodgers returns, wants Cobby to return too, I'm not so sure Goody and the boys, decide to keep him other than in that situation. So, um, Jared, do you think with D-Bach possibly playing at least a few series, do you think that's why Rodgers is so insistent on playing to get some reps in with Dave? That's a good question. Maybe. I was talking about this with John the other day on Pat Casual. He's been getting the ball out quick. They've been doing the game plan as that, for that reason. It's been working out pretty well. Obviously, the offense is playing well. But with David back there, does that make him, a little more, bound to draw some plays out, that hasn't really worked out this late in his career? So I don't know. That's a good question. So on Twitter, opinionator 69. How long you think Rodgers is really going to stay for? That's a good question, opinionator. That question was just about asked here, and I'll get to that in a second. So hang on here. Good question though. Good question. Johnny, you asked, when do we stop giving any sort of credibility to these sources on Aaron? This offseason will be hell regardless of season outcome. That's a great question. I think first and foremost, Andy Herman said this on his daily chats for Packaday. He, put it through the crap test. If it sounds something like complete BS, just ignore it. No matter who it comes from. Ultimately, stick to the local writers and reporters for your info surrounding the team. Nothing against the national guys like Schefter and whoever else. But unlike Green Bay's local media, they don't spend any time actually covering the team like in depth. They can't. They got to cover the entire league, so it's just not possible. Stick to the guys who cover the team daily, whether it's guys in the local area, or even guys that aren't in the area, but they specifically cover the team. So, for example, guys like Zach Jacobson, he's out in Cali, but he specifically covers the team day in and day out. So stick to your local writers and reporters for any relevant info. Outside of that, I'm not sure how these guys like, Boomer Esiason with the stuff a couple days ago that Rodgers disputed on Twitter himself. Adam Schefter, how can they put out stuff that one isn't true, two is just downright embarrassing, clickbait stuff, and they see virtually no repercussion for their actions. It's dumb. I compare them to NFL referees or any referees that make horrible calls and go unpunished. They're doing bad at their job with no consequences. Most of them do it over and over again, and nothing happens to get it fixed. I just don't get it. So, Prop Low asks, what will Rodgers do after this year? Prop Low, good question. Um, After him and the Packers win the Super Bowl this year, I think they'll work things out and he signs an extension. He's just been playing too good a football to let him go, under any circumstances. That is unless he wants to leave, which I don't think is the case. He sounded pretty positive whenever he's talked, about the Packers front office and the organization as a whole. So him and the Packers win the Super Bowl in a month, and then we sign him to an extension. That's my guess. So, um, Jared, I completely agree. Anyone else sick of all the drama this year? My God, it's so annoying. It is. Will it end? Probably not, unfortunately. Um, as we get closer to the Super Bowl, it's only going to hype up even more. And then the off season is right when it ends. Even if we win the Super Bowl, like I feel like if we win the Super Bowl and Rodgers is in a press conference after we win, somebody, someone, I don't know who it's going to be. I have a few in mind because some of the reporters ask some oddly phrased questions, and I've tweeted out before. If you're gonna criticize reporters and really take offense to it, then become a reporter, ask your questions, and if you're a reporter and can't take that harsh feedback, then don't ask those questions. But otherwise, they're doing their job and they're doing it the way they choose to do it. So, um, after we win the Super Bowl, Rodgers, yeah, I bet he gets asked questions that are just dumb. But that's how some media works, unfortunately. So, next up, Grace Olner asks, whose back shoulder throw is more reliable, Jordy's or Devontae's? Whew, man, that is the question of all questions, Grace. Bravo. I think overall, Devontae's the better receiver. That's no knock to Jordy. I love Jordy. I got his jersey right up here. Like, I met him at the charity softball game. I got the picture right below it of him signing the jersey for me. He's just a stud. One of my favorite Packers of all times. But Devontae's on his way to being, a Hall of Fame type guy. But that connection between Rodgers and Jordy, specifically in that relax year, uh, 20, 2014, it was just nasty. I'm gonna have to go with Rodgers to Jordy. So great question. Packer Jack 15. I love the name. Thoughts on Josh Myers potentially taking back his spot, even though Lucas Patrick has been playing well? Thank you for the question, Packer Jack. He was officially activated today with no injury designation, so he will play tomorrow against the Lions. It's an interesting situation because, Josh obviously was drafted to play center. He won the job, the second he joined the team. But Lucas Patrick, man, he's been playing pretty well over the course of the season and throwing the rookie back in there after not playing for 3 months or so, understandably raises some eyebrows. I think, the coaching staff is gonna lean on Myers, gonna lean on putting Myers back in there. If it were me, I'd probably put Myers back in there. I maybe talk to Rodgers, see what his input is. Not necessarily use it as an end all be all. Just see what he thinks. Like who's doing better? I mean, who do you want to take snaps from on the Super Bowl run? Um, Overall, though, I think Myers will be back. Um, I know that if he is indeed, the coaches have full confidence in him heading in the playoffs if he is put back in there. So if he's back in there, I'm going to listen to coach and all those guys, and clearly they know what's best for the team, and that's what's going to happen. So Chad Tully, thanks for the comment, buddy. I really appreciate you tuning in. What does a tight end room look like next year? I think Big Bob's going to be back. If he had a big year this year, maybe he was going to be looking for a bunch of money. but I think we'll be able to get him back. Unfortunately, obviously, he had the torn ACL a couple months ago, but I think he'll be back. Josiah will be back. Mercedes, if Rodgers is back, Mercedes will be back. That leaves, gosh, is Dominique Daphne gonna be back? I hope so. I love watching him. And him and Josiah kind of share that responsibility of doing that dirty work. And I know Dominique was hurt a little bit, but that's just kind of I don't know. I feel like if Rodgers is back, Mercedes is back. If he's not back, Mercedes won't be there. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. That's a good question because yeah, tight end is a spot that is a need, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. And really, with the guys that we have right now, um, we're getting it done. Brady's got Gronk. Rams have Higby, and the Cardinals they don't have anybody to note. Cowboys they got Schwam, I think his name is. Who are the other playoff teams? I mean, it's tough. Tight end in fantasy, it's a super important position because there's only a couple that are good. But that's a good question. We'll have to wait and see for that one. Does Big Dog retire if they win in Lombardi? Whew, that is. I was just talking about him. That's a tough question. I hope not. If we win the Lombardi, Rodgers retires. I could see Mercedes retiring. If Rodgers comes back, I could see Mercedes coming back. I think they kind of go hand in hand. Veterans, they both love each other clearly, but we'll see. Tight end room is something that is so up in the air that I don't have much opinion on it because one, it hasn't been talked about a lot, and two, there's a lot of options there. And one thing I will say is I think Big Bob will be back, thankfully. So, um, Paisley Q15 asks, Bears or Vikings? Whose fan base is worse? Paisley. They're both just terrible. One. So I'm not sure one can outdo the other because they're both pretty bad, obviously. But one thing I know for sure is that all the offseason trash talking from them meant absolutely nothing. Other than the fact that the ones who made the claims like Bears are going to win the NFC, Vikings are going to be the NFC North champs. Fields is going to take over the division. All that BS. All that talk led to absolutely nothing. And now when I've harped on a few tweets from the offseason from those fans, I get no response. I'm tagged in a few things. I see tweets that were made in the offseason. I go and comment on them. I tweet update question mark. No updates are being made. These guys, just like the referees, just like Adam Schefter and all those guys, they're making these claims that are going unpunished. I'm just trying to be there to see what's going on. So, if you're gonna dish it out at all, you got to be able to take back the heat when all your claims come crashing down. I at least will own up to my mistakes as far as trash talking if I get called out on them. It's only right. Um, but most of the time, Bears and Vikings fans are so hurt they choose to ignore it, which it sucks to be them. That's you don't want to kick the poor guys while they're down. Although it may be fun, they're all firing their coaches. They're figuring out what their franchise is going to do. Meanwhile, we're about to go win a Super Bowl, so that's that. So good question. Ryan for Prez asks, "What are your power rankings for the NFC playoffs?" Packers at the 1 seed, obviously. I think the rest of the group, at least 2 through 5 as far as the seeds go, are somewhat equal. That's Buccaneers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams. I think those are the teams that will threaten Green Bay. The 6th and the 7th seed, I don't think will make it too far, although I would love, if for an upset to happen that way, we play the Saints or the Niners or the gosh, who else is going to get it? Not the Falcons. I can't even tell you. Eagles. I think maybe the Eagles. We play one of those guys in the division round at Lambeau. They'll put up 40 plus and probably give up 15, 17 points. And then we got a home game, for the NFC Championship, which I will be going to. Was looking at Super Bowl tickets. They're $7,000. As much as I would like to go, that just me and my wife, that seems a little ridiculous to be spending 15, 20 grand to go to the Super Bowl. But hey, the option is still there. If tickets decrease in price a little bit, I'm going. So, from those 4 teams, I still think the Buccaneers are the second best team in the conference, even with their injuries. They've got Tom Brady, second best quarterback of all time, behind yours truly. So he can carry that team if he needs to. But I think the next is Cardinals. Kyler Murray can get hot. If he goes on a tear, that's not someone I would necessarily care to face. Although I think we'd handle them. It looks like they're getting JJ Watt back for the playoffs, so some more ammunition coming for them. So they're a team to kind of look out for. I know Hopkins, he's out for a little bit, might return, but I don't know. They're a team to look out for. So after the Cardinals, next I think is the Cowboys. They started the year off hot, 7-1. Kind of fell off because of the way Dak was playing. Gallup tore his ACL this last weekend, so they're down a receiver. They've still got a good defense. Their secondary is not good unless they get pressure. I know Trayvon Diggs has got a bunch of picks, but I don't think their secondary is good. And if we were to face them, Raj would just tear them up. So they still got a good defense, though. They got Zeke, Pollard, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb on offense. Jared says, Schultz. That's who I was thinking of. Schultz for the tight end. That's a decent offense. So they can make a little run too. Right after the Cowboys, for me, is the Rams. Stafford has thrown some absolute terrible balls that remind me of his prime days in Detroit. Any team after those 4, Buccaneers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams, I just don't think they'll make it that far. I think the Packers are clearly better than all 4 of those teams on offense and defense. And if David Moore's returning punts, maybe special teams. I don't know. Crosby's been on one. He's been hitting those crisp extra points. He's been making us field goals. So I think we're the clear favorite, which we are as far as the betting odds go, as for most sports books. Um, we should win the Super Bowl. So that's just kind of how it goes. Let's see here. Jared, potentially last game to see Rodgers for 7,000. Haha. Yeah, potentially. If we win it, I could see him retiring or returning. But if I don't see any other option if we win it. 7,000. I was thinking like 3-4 grand. Me and my wife could go. It's a once in a lifetime experience. If you're a Packers fan, it's a once in every 10-year experience. That's kind of how it's going to go. Hopefully, probably not. But 7K. I'd rather go to the NFC Championship game at Lambeau and experience that. And then, I always watch the games with my family, my parents sometimes, my wife's family, they're Packers fans, some of them are at least. So, the better option for me would be NFC Championship game, go to Lambeau, watch them beat the Rams or the Cardinals to go to the Super Bowl, and then, you know, here at home, rent out, have people over for our place and watch the game as a whole. We got a 6-month-old daughter. I'd love to watch it and especially if we win, experience that. She won't remember. But, when she grows up, yeah, we all watched the Super Bowl together and got to experience that together. So, Chad, you gonna meet the team at the airport after they win the Super Bowl? Yes. If we don't go, then yes. If we don't go to the Super Bowl, we'll meet them there. We'll be there for the parade and everything else that takes place. I'll be there. Chad, you gonna be there? That's a real question. Let me know if you're gonna be there. Jared, thoughts on Tampa this year? They seem like a mess at this point. A lot of drama lately and a ton of injuries. Yeah, they're Peter Bukowski said this on his Locked On Packers show the other day. They're kind of a shell of what they were last year. Injuries, obviously the AB drama, which is just wild. Brady's been playing great, and he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Probably one of the best besides Rodgers, of course. But they're a shell of what they were last year. They were hot coming, early this year. They beat the Cowboys, who were super good. That was their one loss. The Cowboys' one loss when they were 7-1 late in the season was to the Bucks. But now, they're hurt. Their defense isn't as scary. They're still trying to figure things out as far as an identity and whatnot. But if they come into Lambeau, it doesn't give me that scarred vibes like the Niners did, a few years back. They were a powerhouse year in and year out. Their defense was always super good. They ran the ball, and our run defense was terrible. Leonard Fournette's hurt. Godwin's hurt. Gronk is Gronk. He's a little older, but he's still Gronk. But Evans is hurt. Like I just said, their defense is not as good as they were last year. If they come to Lambeau, I think we take care of them. Packed house. If it's cold, if it's not cold, if it's not packed house, I think we beat them either way. Um, Chad, we got plans to come up and stay in Green Bay if they make it to the Super Bowl. Ben said he is down to meet them at the airport too. I think that'd be a blast. Can you imagine? Super Bowl win, them coming through the airport, place will be packed. So good stuff. Good stuff, everybody. This is great. I'm gonna close it down though. Been on for about 20 minutes, and that's good enough for me. I could go all day, but got a 6-month-old daughter upstairs hanging out. It's Saturday. We're about to catch some NFL football here in about an hour. So love hearing your questions. And I love answering them. Don't take them too seriously though, because it's just my personal opinion. I'm no more knowledgeable than any other fan. Catch me back on here tomorrow before the game. I'll be joined by Jonathan Beckman to chat some Packers Lions. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at Rob Westerman3 and subscribe to our YouTube channel at GBP Daily. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you.